3 top tips for our wonderful RSE teachers who want to improve their practice.
The number one thing that teachers can do is to actually ask their students what they want to learn, what they need to learn, what an effective RSE experience for them and their school will be. So I can't, say you need to cover these topics and this is how you need to teach, this is what you need to do, because it's going to be unique to every single class, every single group of young people in every single classroom in the country.
I think that's a really good point.
No matter where you are in your teaching journey, I think it was valuable to go and observe other teachers, whether that be in your school or colleagues in other schools nearby. And I think also quality communication home. So whether that be the 2 yearly consultation or just, more regular communication with the home around what's being taught.
I think that last part is really important because, again, from all my research with parents, that's what it kept coming back to. They are really supportive of RSE. They know that their young people need to learn a lot of these skills, and they shared examples with me of real life stories of how their children and young people were navigating the space, but they just wanted to know more about what's being taught in the school and how they could help and actually how they could be part of that. And it's not easy to consult with communities. We know that. Both you and I have experienced that. But once you actually start those conversations, it's amazing what you find out, isn't it? And they become very supportive parents.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's really valuable for parents to know when this content's being covered in health education so that they can open that conversation at home, talking about what did you learn today in RSE, or have you got any questions, how can we,
I remember that with my own son.
Or can you teach me something?
Yeah,
even.
He came home, they'd done a lesson on consent, and the teacher did a really good job of the basics of consent, but there was still a lot more to talk about. And, as a sexuality educator, I said, what'd you learn? And then we started talking, and half an hour later, we were still having a shared conversation around what is consent and how does it work, and just talking about the world. And honestly, it was one of the best conversations, but it was started by a really good lesson on consent in the school classroom. So I think if we share more of those really good stories about what's happening, teachers and parents will feel much more comfortable about RSE.
I think also teachers can get a little bit caught up in, what content to cover. There's that quote that sort of talks about how people will remember how you taught or who you were or who you were with them rather than what you covered, and I think that's quite true of health education. They'll look back at their health education experience and remember how the teacher was with them.
Relationships again.
Relationships, rather than, the ins and outs. And I kind of sometimes talk about Googleable knowledge, and young people do have information at their fingertips these days. So it's not really so incumbent on the teacher to know everything.
That's such a cool point, because this young person I was working with said that their father didn't know about gender diversity or gender pronouns but wanted to learn. And he said, so I went and I read the material and I watched the video and then I went and taught him. So again, parents often learn more from their children than they can teach them, and vice versa in the school context for educators. We don't need to know all the answers, and we can't keep up with everything, neither can parents. But we can have conversations and find out what people want to know and how we can find the information that we need as well. So, I think that's a really important thing for educators, not to feel that they have to know everything.
From Te Reo Māori, we use the word ākonga, student or learner, and we use the word kaiako, teacher. And it's no coincidence, I don't think, that the first 3 words of ākonga are the end of kaiako. So that is that idea of ako, and that's that reciprocal teaching and learning. And, teachers do like to position themselves as experts, but I think relinquishing some of that authority, I think, can go a long way.
Because they have the expert in terms of teaching and learning, but they don't have the expertise in that person's world. So you're learning from each other all the time. And I think that's a fabulous example of why RSE is also so important, to find out what's going on in young people's worlds and what skills they need at this point in time.